If you are confused by this promo, please like the video. What's happening, beautiful people? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Mike LaBelle. Before we begin, it is free to subscribe. It'll help me layer up, help support everything that we have going on. We've got the ice versus the heat, which just doesn't make that much sense for December. It doesn't have that same foot miss or foot freeze. Ambiance, connection, storytelling, narrative. Also, most of these players didn't receive the whole weak foot versus skill moves scenario or sequence, which really escalates the versus theme. If we're looking at the statistical shift, and then if you also had a characteristic shift. Criteria before this video gets extraordinary. Must be a foot versus player. You're gonna get my personal iteration preference. So whether I prefer the ice versus the fire or vice versa. And this is performance based, not a value foot equation. Ignore the price points. Pereira. And I'd like to start with a statement. All of these players are usable from the 15 that have been introduced. I just don't think the promo maximized the time period or the hype that we could have backdoored, that we could have built up, that we could have supported properly from a community perspective. I would go with the fire version. I'd rather have an 80 plus in the shooting department. Also has high work rates to go with high stamina. 92 to be exact, 6 foot tall. Maybe he's being a little overlooked, perhaps underrated. The price that you're paying for the statistical allocation is not bad whatsoever. Schultz, we're not talking about Andrew. I'm leaning towards the ice version. 79 to 85 dribbling is a big move, both defensively and offensively. It can help you so much with some of the turning, the lateral movement, the side to side, which also benefits you with recovery and benefits you when you're looking for lanes of space. Adds a new dynamic, hooked on a steering wheel or installed the steering wheel, and he has a 4-star skill upgrade, which seems random for this foot item. Everton, 90 plus in the big four. I suppose I see Everton, not the football club, but the player, more as a winger as opposed to being a striker or a secondary striker, and that deals with maybe the 3-star weak foot. I just think he'll be more effective like this, in this zone. Auto zone, the Brazilian zone. Tagliafico, relatively straightforward, transparent. Not a lot that I have to argue here. +5 dribbling is greater than the -3 in the defensive area between the 2 foot items. So we're gravitating towards the ice version. Part of that is because an 84 defending stat is already one of the highest, if not the highest tier for fullbacks, period. Claude Maurice, and hear me out. He's going to be a center mid or a holding mid for you. Is that a safe statement? I believe we all are on the same page. The booklet or the leaflet, the magazine. Tell me you've read something. I don't know if you've gotten up to a novel. But the point that I'm trying to make is that 79 stamina is going to be an issue. And if you go with the fire version, you got an 85, which gives you more of a chance to really have a true box to box. Here last a little bit longer. And if you're playing either of the before mentioned positions, center mid or holding mid, that one statistic with stamina is going to be crucial for your longevity of playing time, playing minutes, and the value that he adds to your squad. I also don't want to necessarily sub out center mids or holding mids if I can avoid it. I like to make super subs for the attack. And Babu, he will never be a light walker. So I would prefer to boost the stats and characteristics that make sense to maximize the foot item. I'm looking at the fire version. He's never gonna be that lean body type that has that quick responsive side to side. That's my logic. So let me go ahead and adjust what I can adjust and benefit where I can benefit. Traore, ice variation, please and thank you. There is a real challenge when we're looking at conversion between a 75 finishing, 73 long shots, and a 2-star weak foot. The game's starting to work against you unless he's strictly a wing runner. But I question and I ask you, do you remember foot freeze last year? Same time period. 84 overall Traore. Lasted for months on months on months because they bumped his defense. I don't want this foot item, the ice version, or the heater. I want the foot freeze. 80 defense. I had versatility. I had creativity. I had unusual, unorthodox. Then I had his body type. And now I can play him as a fullback, a winger, a holding midfielder, a box-to-box midfielder. I even saw him used as a striker. you have to go with the ice version of Traore because you're looking at 83 shooting versus 75 shooting. Pretty much that straightforward. Mertens, his dribbling's always been A1. There is a preference in priority. I'm not talking about going to the airport, especially not during the holidays. I suppose the debate comes down to a striker or center forward or something central versus being on the wings. I think the majority of us will prefer the fire version, and that's more so if you want him as a striker or even some sort of secondary role or a floater in the middle of the pitch. Correa, I don't think either of these versions of Correa are going to be able to convert to feeling like new players. The pace versus the shooting, that's my opinion. I'm going fire, but if you want to go ice, they're very close, and more importantly, it's almost a double issue. Pulisic, we've asked this question once, so I'll ask it again. Where are you playing him? And I chose to go with the ice variation, but I see him more as a winger in my team or even a center attacking midfielder. I want those passing numbers. I want those skill moves. I want not only the dexterity, but also the maximum expression on the virtual pitch. But both are good. I said ice in case of emergency. Gomez, I'm going more defense, but it's still going to be the same player. And in my opinion, in a promo like this, where it's a versus promo, that is not the goal. To make two player types that are so similar, there really isn't that much of a debate because you know you're not getting some drastic change. They're both going to perform in the same tier every single time. I've gone with the ice version. Defense is a little superior. Koundé, we're trying to convert an item. That's why I've gone for the ice Koundé. He's already proven previously that he has the side to side. He turns well. He's available. He's paying attention. Got the blinkers on. Movement's always been at that upper tier, so let me get a little more of that physicality. Rashford! Why didn't they upgrade his weak foot? Why are these left at 5'3"? I'm talking 5-star skills, 3-star weak foot. He's obviously still extremely usable, appreciated, but it would have provided a new angle. We're hitting that fire version. Dribbling makes more sense than anything along the strength, output, or deliverables. Valverde, of course, going to be a center mid or center defensive midfielder. Not going to be able to play as an attacker, nor would you want him to be able to do that. Got a lot of 80s in the right places. Also, skill move upgrade on both of these iterations. But because I know his role as a player that's going to break up what's happening, dictate also what's happening in that midfield, I would prefer the defense over the passing as for the upgrade. If anything, Valverde is making a lot of simple passes. Not known for the deep through ball, but I'm sure he's more than capable. Not known for switching the pitch with beauties, sitting deep behind the lines, little Tony Cruz, but he'll get the job done. Jesus, Gabriel Jesus, or Jesus, however you would like to talk about this Brazilian representing Manchester City. And I would say easily the #1 conversation starter amongst this release or this promo. The 4-star skills with the 4-star weak foot for me, because I'm going to use him as a striker, goal scorer, authentic, genuine converter, clinical as ever. I need both feet. I don't want the 5'3". I want the 4+4. It's a better way of getting to 8. We counting like this. EA tried to get clever with the pace upgrade on the other version, but I'm going ice. That's where I'm going to leave off. Thanks again for watching. If you have not subscribed, that would be high-key appreciated. The other portion of this promo that's confusing, not only the weak foot versus the skill moves, but also the upgrades. I don't feel as if it's consistent between ice upgrades, these stat lines, and fire upgrades, those stat lines. They mix and match. Just depends on the player and the foot items that were issued. But as always, I have a lot more content coming out ASAP. We upload daily.